played out in those final games in Toronto?
I think, like I told the team after the game, it does sting, and I'm not sure how long this thing's going to last. I think for a lot of us, it's a tough way to go out, and it's a tough way to end a pretty outstanding season, and in some ways overshadows a lot of the positives that have happened. But it's just. It doesn't seem fitting that the way these guys played, how hard they played, how well they played, the fight that they had the entire season, and I think that's the toughest part, and that's the part that stings. And I can't say enough about the support that just running into people, the texts that you receive, how appreciative people have been of the season, and in some ways that makes it sting a little bit more, but. I think it's a tough one. It's going to take some time, but at the same time, a lot of great things have happened.
Do you find yourself second guessing anything that played out?
I mean, I think as a manager, you have to make decisions, and in terms of if it's whether it's the Bizzardo one, we have a good process in place, and but managers have to wear decisions one way or the other, and I think that adds to this thing as well.
What was the plane flight home like?
Quiet, very quiet, and I think seeing some guys here over the last couple days as they've kind of packed up, I think as a player, those are always tough flights home and tough times to pack up, but. At the same time, I hope they feel really proud of what they've been able to accomplish here, and incredible step forward. I think getting experience in a playoff situation, in a Game 7, those things really help as you go forward, and our guys getting a chance to experience that here, will only help us going forward.
You mentioned it being a step forward. How do you ensure it's not just an aberration, that this is a group that can have sustained success?
Yeah, we get to work, and we start moving forward, and that will start here very quickly, and I think we've got, as we've talked about, just an incredible group in that clubhouse, and trying to keep as many of us together as possible, I think, is going to be huge, and it's a group that has great chemistry. They play together very well. Like I've said, I've used the word love. They love each other a lot, and that is really can carry you a long way. And so, being able to hold on to guys, keep the core together, add pieces where we need, all those kinds of things. We'll get to work, and Jerry and Justin, obviously, with the job they have done this season and getting the pieces, in place. They've been doing this a long time, and so we'll get to work right away.
Dan, what was I assume you saw Cal's comments when he says, after the game, it's a failure, we didn't get where we wanted to go, all of those sorts of things. How do you kind of take comments like that when he wants to keep the bar set as high as it possibly can be, and kind of knowing that as great a season as this has, it didn't get you guys where you wanted to go, and kind of how you kind of use that as kind of a North Star to kind of chase?
Yeah, no doubt. I think, that's what makes this group so special, is just that desire that they have, and we all want to be playing tomorrow night in LA, and that's what's difficult to swallow. But again, what's in that clubhouse is determined, and they're not satisfied, and I think that speaks volumes. And when you look at the year he has had, and in some ways you don't want him to feel like it was a failure year, but it's coming from a place of wanting to win as a team, and that's really been the motivator for Cal all season long, was wanting his team to win, and so understandable how that felt in the moment, and that's just the incentive going forward. Last year we watched Houston celebrate on their field last year, and that doesn't feel good, and so that can also be a driver as you go forward. That's motivation to get where we want to go, and ultimately that was our goal this year. We didn't quite get there, and that will be our goal next year.
When you look at his season, what, I guess, in the totality of it, what jumps out the most to you is what he did?
I think for me, just the durability that he had. You know, I think if there's one word to describe that year, it's his durability. You know, to put up the numbers he did as consistently as he did from beginning to end, to catch as much as he did, to block balls as much as he had to this year. Like all that, you look at all that, and it takes a special person to be able to not only withstand that physically but mentally as well. And I think, to me, just how durable he was and how he was consistent throughout the entire season at the position he is at. That's a really difficult thing to do. And he did it and did it extremely well.
Dan, how do you kind of look at your rotations efforts throughout the year? There was obviously a lot of injuries through that group that each of them peaked in different moments and had their stuff here and not there. And kind of, what do you kind of make of that group as a whole and kind of how it performed through the playoffs and all that?
Yeah, you know, I think you can't talk about our rotation, you know, without talking about a couple of guys that stepped up, you know, in terms of, you know, you look at Logan Evans, you look at Emerson Hancock, and as early on in the season with George down, you know, those guys really stepped up and filled a big role for us. And then, you know, our guys, you know, injuries are going to happen as part of the game. But I thought our guys did a really good job of coming back and you know, getting back to the form that they were used to. And, you know, George ending on such a good note. I think Brian Wu coming back there at the end as well. What a season for him. You know, just kind of taking a step forward in his career and where he's at. You know, and Logan going through what he did for the first time and then being able to bounce back from that. So obviously you want your starters to be healthy all season long, and that's pretty rare in the game today. But you know, I think these guys did a great job getting back and getting back to where they are comfortable being, and you know, I think that bodes well for next year, because that's a big part of what we do. That's where our consistency comes from, is our pitching, and you know, those guys are the reason for it.
I know it just ended, but do you anticipate any staff changes on your coaching staff?
Not much. No, it's a great staff, and you know, I think as good as the chemistry is in the clubhouse, I think we have a similar chemistry in the coaching staff, and you know, I can't say enough about the job they have done and continue to do. Can't do it without them at all. I mean, these guys are very good and very thorough, and you know, this is such a team effort that we have. It's a group effort, and you know, I think keeping as many guys there in place as we can, I think, is also another benefit to us moving forward.
Being a part of the teams that you were a part of, you obviously got close to your guys' selves and never ultimately got there. How do you try to get that extra step out of these guys over the next couple of years, and that this doesn't kind of follow that kind of same path eventually?
You know, I don't worry about that with our guys. Our guys are fighters. You know, I think they have shown that, you know, time and time again. And the way they played, particularly September and towards the end of the season and then into the playoffs, these guys fight, and you know, that's something that you have to have, and you have to get to the World Series, and that's what they had this year, and that's what they'll continue to bring. I don't think that changes, and these guys will continue that effort going forward. And you know, I think, again, another reason why we'll try to keep the core together as much as possible.
There's been a decent amount of criticism for the process and ultimately the decisions that were made in Game 7. I'm wondering, how do you handle that?
You know, I think, again, you know, as a manager, you're responsible for that, and you have to wear it in some ways. You know, and we'll continue to assess, and you know, you're always looking to get better and do the things that it takes to get better, and we will continue to do that. And but it's you know, again, it's frustrating, and you know, it really is something that stings, and will continue to sting for a while.
What did Josh Naylor show you in the 3 months that you guys have?
I mean, you know, just as we talked about during the season, he's an incredible player, you know, from a physical standpoint, and the way he hits and the way he plays defense, pretty phenomenal. But what he does, you know, off the field, I think in terms of the clubhouse, and just his mental approach to the game and the smarts that he has, the headiness that he plays with. You know, he's quite the player, and on both sides, whether it's mental or physical. And you know, he's the type of guy that came over here into a new team, but fit right in and fit right in quickly. And you know, it's pretty impressive that he was able to do that, and that shows you the type of person and player he is.
How much do you need a guy like that to be able to run it back in 26?
You do. I mean, you know, you need that intensity. You need that drive. You know, I think his drive to win is incredible also, and you know that's what you're going to need from all your guys, and you know that's a big part of you know what he brought to this club. So yeah, absolutely, we need that from everybody.
Going back to Cal, you talked about through the season how every month it was kind of the same consistent kind of track that he was on, and it ended up being the same for October. For that kind of performance to continue to show up in the postseason, the biggest kind of stage, does that kind of speak to the player he's become and the season that he had, that he was able to keep it rolling into that stage?
Yeah, no doubt. And again, I think that speaks to his durability. You know, it's a long season for a catcher, especially, and you know what he's able to do, and then to continue to do that through the postseason is remarkable. And again, he did it with humility, no doubt, but he did it with a desire, all from a desire to win and want to get us to the next level. And you know, I think that's really what drives him. And you know, it's good that we got closer, and you know, next year is our next opportunity to get even to where we want to go.
Does this feel like his team in some ways?
I think, you know, it's hard to say. I think that group, it's a just like it is as a coaching staff. I think it's group effort, and you know, so many guys again fill so many roles, but he's certainly one of the guys that's a leader, and you know, what a year he has had, the way he has stepped up, and just his leadership, and also what he has done on the field. You know, he is definitely a big voice in that clubhouse.